Superb is defined as being very good or excellent. This is the Skoda Superb, so that means it has to be very good or excellent by definition. I'll be walking around the exterior features, the interior features, and of course taking this thing for a drive to see really if this is deserving of the name Superb. Now this Skoda Superb here is the most expensive one you can buy. It's a smidge under $70,000 drive away. So what do you get with a Skoda Superb Sportline? Well, you get more aggressive looks. We have a blacked out grille and we also have some upgraded LED headlights here. Skoda Superb measures in at 4,869 millimeters, which is quite a long sedan compared to some other smaller, more compact rivals. But there's a reason for that, and that reason is comfort and space. Now you can see here are 19-inch wheels, which are wrapped in a Pirelli tire, the 235s, both front and rear. Now we also have a little Sportline badge here. We've also got black mirror caps. We also have a touch-sensitive keyless entry and exit, which is really quite nice. And it's also worth noting our car does have a sunroof. But as we move along the back, you can see there is no rear wiper on this lift back. This Sportline model also gets this pretty aggressive rear deck lid spoiler, and we also have black badging on the back with Skoda and Superb written in black and 4x4 to let you know this is all-wheel drive. And then below that we do have some very real exhausts, but they could sound just a little bit better in sports mode. Take a listen. Now this is where the Skoda Superb comes into a league of its own against its competitors. So check this out, you open up this automatic tailgate and it reveals over 600 liters of cargo space with the seats up. Now I'd be careful who you run into driving one of these because it is very easy to fit a person in the back, and if it's not people you're fitting in the back here, it will fit multiple suitcases in here just fine. Now in the back it's also worth mentioning you have these little cubby boxes on the sides. What's more important are these little sliders and dividers here, which actually have a bit of Velcro on the back and can just plant themselves on the boot floor here, and you can create little compartments and dividers here in the boot. Now check it out, in the back seats we have a large opening you get in and out of. So when I jump in, I'm 5'11", I'm sitting behind my adjusted driving position, and check it out. I don't think I've had more space in a sedan in recent memory. This is enormous and it's far better than the back seat of the Kia Stinger, for example. So you can see here how the seat sort of comes out a bit, so it's sort of supporting more of my legs rather than having them dangle out. Now I do have rear heated seats for the exterior seats here, and we do have our own climate controls in the back. Now I do have a little bucket here which reveals a 12-volt socket, which is quite useful. And then in the middle armrest, of course, you can access the boot through that little access port in the middle seat, but then you have your cup holders here, which are, yes, on the small side, but thankfully you have larger door bins, and then you have a little pen holder in here as well. Very interesting. Now you can see here on the passenger side there is a tablet holder, which is very interesting. So you can just remove this piece here and it slots right in the middle, and you have a tablet holder in the middle. But unfortunately there's no USB ports in the back. Now what I really like is that Skoda have actually engineered these doors to feel nice and weighty, and so they also sound very nice and luxurious when you close them. Now the interior in here is very Skoda in terms of we get this nice upgraded steering wheel for the Sportline. It's this 3-spoke design. I do like the thumb scrolls for controlling the screen and also your volume and media controls. Now quality in here is quite nice. Plenty of squidgy materials up on the dash, but then yes, there are some harsher sort of plastics in the form of fake carbon fiber as a trim piece, but I prefer that compared to something that could be easily done like gloss black. Now in terms of comfort, these seats are all electronically adjustable, both on the passenger side and on the driver's side, and also the steering wheel is telescopic and height adjustable. Now in front of me I have a 10.25-inch virtual cluster, which is something that you see across Volkswagen's group, and it started obviously with Audi and it's sort of gone everywhere. You see it here in the Skoda, it works really well. So you can get your map, you can get all sorts of details up there. Now there's no heads-up display, but we do have a 9.2-inch touchscreen here in the middle. I do like the fact that it senses your hand coming up, so it hides any sort of details until they're sort of revealed when your hand is close to touching the screen. Now I do like the hard buttons on the left-hand side, even though they're touch capacitive. It just means that you can just jump to your menus real quick, have Apple CarPlay wirelessly set up, and you can also have Android Auto set up as well. Now what's even better is this Canton surround speaker system. It is fantastic. You can adjust it to surround or just have it sort of like a reference mode, and you can even actually have this have a Dolby Atmos type experience. Now down below we have our physical buttons for our climate controls. You have heated and cooled seats up front as well, and you have a USB-C port, a 12-volt socket, and a wireless wireless phone charge. And then you've also got your controls for your parking assist. So yes, this car can park itself, and you've also got your drive mode buttons and your traction control off buttons as well. Now these tiny little cup holders here are just a bit useless, to be honest. And up this pretty sizable center armrest here, which does have a USB-A port in here. And then we also have a little climate control adjuster, so you can put the air conditioning through here to keep it sort of cool or warm. Now the one downside in here as well is I really don't like the placement of the start engine stop button. It just feels really cheap in 2022 to have it where the physical key ignition would be. And in addition, our glove box is also chilled. Even the inclusion of a little bin on the side of this car, yes, I know you can just sort of throw a bin in your car, but the fact there's one made for it and it comes with this car is quite nice. Let's get started with what's under the bonnet. It's a 2-liter turbocharged unit, and it's the upgraded unit for the Sport line, which means you get over 200 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters of torque. That's all being sent through a 6-speed DSG gearbox, which is a dual clutch gearbox, and it's going through to an all-wheel drive system. This can hit 0 to 100 in around 6 seconds. Now, immediately when you hop into the Superb, you notice the sound isolation. It's fantastic. You can't really hear a whole bunch from the outside, and also the ride quality. It sort of feels a bit numb to some, and that's really how I feel about this car. As I sort of hopped in, I was like, oh, it's not really visceral. You're not really feeling much, but that's the whole point of this thing. You jump in and it's just relaxing. Now we're in eco mode, which is really just a mode you'd cruise around in if you wanted to save a bit of petrol. But what I like cruising in is actually comfort mode. So comfort mode just relaxes everything up, and this thing is just divine to drive in comfort mode. It's almost like an LS400 experience. For the money, I think you're getting a really relaxed ride, and it's not trying to emulate like a sports car or anything like that, or it's not even trying to be a fantastically handling car, and it's not trying to compromise your ride in that regard. Rather, it's giving you like a cushiony, airy ride, and it's indicated by a little cloud symbol that jumps up into your gauge cluster when you indicate that you want to go into comfort mode. Now, if you want to get a bit more exciting, you can go into sport, which sort of knocks the gearbox into a sport setting, and then you also get a bit more of a reactive steering feel and also throttle response and a bit more of a stiffened ride. And then if you put your foot down, yeah, you feel those kilowatts wake up, and this is a pretty rapid sedan. Now there are some rattles and squeaks that can be heard in here, which just can detract from the luxury experience, but overall this would be great for highway cruising, excellent for daily driving, and yeah, if you're not interested in SUVs, then the sedan experience like this is a really good one. Now for your driving aids, you do have travel assist, which sort of wraps up automatic lane keep assist and cruise control as a one-touch activation, which I really like, but then you also can adjust all your cruise control settings via the extra stalk here on the steering wheel. Now, where does it leave the Skoda Superb on your shopping list? Well, against the Mercedes C-Class and the BMW 3 Series, yes, those brands are just a little bit more attractive, but against something like an Audi A4, I think this is just offering something a little bit more exciting and getting a bit better value compared to that. So I'd probably jump into this over an Audi A4 most days. I really think this is a fantastic option in terms of being able to get a lot of practicality out of that boot and second row, but also getting a whole lot of luxury in terms of how this thing rides, drives, and you also get a nice bit of punch thanks to that motor under the bonnet.